Carburetor leaking gas from the air intake. Have you been curious whether the carburetor leaks gas from the air intake? If so, then you're not alone. Many drivers experience this same problem and don't know how to fix it, but we do. Welcome to our YouTube channel, Auto V Fix. We bring you exciting topics about automobiles and provide lucid explanations on car-related issues and essential components. I share helpful and professional tips to help maintain your vehicle. In this video, we'll walk you through the basics of figuring out why your carburetor is leaking and what steps to take in order to get your car back up and running smoothly again. From understanding the components of a carburetor to diagnosing why it's leaking in the first place, you'll learn everything there is to know about getting that pesky leak fixed. So grab a seat, buckle up, and let's dive into learning all about one of your car's most important gadgets. What is a carburetor? A carburetor, or carb, is a device that mixes air and fuel in the correct ratio for combustion in an internal combustion engine. The carburetor consists of several components including jets, needles, valves, and a float chamber to regulate the flow of fuel into the intake manifold. How does a carburetor work? A carburetor works by taking air from the atmosphere and mixing it with fuel to create an optimized mixture for combustion. The mixture is then drawn into the engine, which is burned to power the vehicle. The ratio of air and fuel can be adjusted using jets, needles, and valves, which allow for different degrees of acceleration or fuel economy. The carburetor also includes a float chamber that helps regulate the flow of fuel into the intake manifold, ensuring an even mix of air and fuel. Why is the air intake of my carburetor leaking gas? If your carburetor is leaking gas from the air intake, it could be due to a number of issues. One of the most common causes is a defective or worn-out gasket, which can allow fuel to leak out. Additionally, the rubber seals on some carburetors may have deteriorated over time and need to be replaced. It's also possible that the fuel line is blocked or clogged, which can cause air to be drawn in and mix with the fuel before being discharged. In addition to these more common causes, there could also be underlying issues that are causing your carburetor to leak from the air intake. For instance, the float may be stuck or adjusted too low, which can allow fuel to pass into the engine at a higher rate than intended. Lastly, the carburetor may be damaged due to a buildup of sediment or corrosion, which can cause fuel to leak out. Once you've identified the cause of your leaking carburetor, it is important to have it inspected and repaired as soon as possible to prevent further damage. This will help you save money on fuel costs and keep you safe on the road. What signs might indicate a gas leak in a carburetor? The signs of a carburetor that is leaking gas include a strong smell of gasoline in the engine compartment, visible pools of fuel around the carburetor, and reduced fuel economy. Additionally, if your car is equipped with an air intake tube, you may notice black smoke coming out of it when starting or running the engine. If any of these symptoms are present, your carburetor should be inspected and repaired immediately to prevent further damage. How can I fix a carburetor that is leaking gas? The first step to fixing a carburetor that is leaking gas is to identify the cause. If the gasket or seals have worn out, they should be replaced. Additionally, the fuel line may need to be unclogged or cleaned in order to prevent any air from being drawn into the system and mixing with the fuel before it can enter the engine. The jets and needles may also need to be adjusted or cleaned in order to regulate the air and fuel mixture properly. Lastly, if sediment or corrosion has built up on the carburetor, it should be cleaned and inspected for any signs of damage. In conclusion, a carburetor that is leaking gas from the air intake can be dangerous. Leaking fuel can cause engine misfiring, increased fuel consumption, smoke from the exhaust system, and even a fire if left unrepaired. Once you've identified the cause of your leaking carburetor, it is important to have it inspected and repaired as soon as possible to prevent further damage. This may require the services of a qualified mechanic, depending on the complexity of the issue. With proper maintenance and adjustment, a carburetor can provide reliable performance for many years to come. I appreciate your time to watch this exciting and educative video. I am sure you have got value. kindly subscribe to our YouTube channel and turn on the bell to be the first to get notified when we drop a new video. Catch you all next time.